Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 19 of Civilization Beyond. Things are just ticking along nicely. We are 3 turns away from completing the beacon, so that's not too bad. Got a few little productions just going on at some of our other cities, nothing terribly important. I'm mainly just attempting to keep all of my cities and workers busy until we can actually get to a point where we can go ahead and win this game. It is still possible that the AI may pit me to the post. I hope that isn't the case. But I feel like this is only video 19. And all of these videos have been like 20 minutes long. And we still feel like we're very, very close to finishing. So it certainly does prove that the games can be quite short in Beyond Earth. We'll continue with that. One thing I haven't done over here at Fidel is actually checked if it can produce anything for a while, because it's just been working on science. We could go ahead and get the Xeno nurseries. They're not a bad idea. Plus 1 science from Xenomass, and we do have 2 Xenomass sources here as well. So that would give us a lot of extra science. That worker has now finished work on that coral. I might as well go ahead and connect up the Fraxite just because that it is close by. But we do want to get the fungus improved as well, because that will give us some extra food. We're actually growing quite quickly here, which is a nice thing anyway, so we will we'll be nice and big, nice and quickly on this city. Then we'll get that other Fraxite. And there's 18 Fraxite between these 2 points, so there's going to be a lot of really nice buildings that we will be able to put up here and get a bit of a benefit from that. So the minor powers didn't seem to do anything particularly important. We have another production that we can do here. Of course, we've now gone ahead and built both of our trade routes. Let's go ahead and get the thorium reactor, just because it's nice to have that extra bit of energy per turn. Again, like I said, it's not going to be that useful to us once the beacon comes online. Let's continue to trade with Gran Exeter, because that is one of our smaller cities again, so we'll trade with that. The internal trade routes really have been nerfed. It has made quite a huge deal of difference on them, really. Let's go ahead and work that Fraxite. This trade vessel, where were you going previously? Doesn't really say. So carry on going to Liqueur. Might as well keep feeding the capital if you can. And go on to the next turn. Cleared a couple of forests for Liqueur, created some extra production. So that might have actually sped up the production of the beacon. And in fact, it has, because there's only 1 turn left. So we're up to almost 1,800 energy. Someone else has made some progress towards the Transcendence victory. Let's just have a quick look at that. Yeah, it's actually getting very, very close now. 60% of the way through. So we do have to be careful. We could get pipped at the post. There's not an awful lot that I could do now. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the beacon. And we have this option here. It says activate the beacon. Power up and transmit an interplanetary signal. Activating the beacon consumes 1,000 energy immediately and consumes all surplus energy each turn it's active. So when we turn the beacon on, we lose 1,000 energy, and even though we are technically making some energy per turn, our surplus of 63 is being consumed by the beacon, so we'll never actually make any additional energy. I believe you can still make additional energy if you sell something directly to someone you have a friendship agreement with. So if you sell a resource for X amount of energy per turn, that gets bundled in with this and it'll get used up by the beacon. However, if you sell directly for a one-off payment, I think that will still count towards boosting it up. Either way, we're not losing any energy, so we should be fine. We can build another production at Liqueur. So there's not really an awful lot that's worth building right now. Might be worth just going on to research for a little bit. I guess we could build the... Well, we don't really need the extra production here, I suppose. So let's go on to social development here. Over at Ainsa, we will build the... Let's just get the hit points. It's worth having it, especially at the cities that are closest to the beacon. So now that we've actually... Oh, we've got a stacked unit. Where are you? That's Sabre. Let's move this Sabre out. So this is one of our ranged units. It's basically like a big artillery unit, does quite a bit of damage. Let's just have a quick look on the victories now. So contact victory, we are now 80% of the way towards the contact victory. That is very, very good. So we've activated the beacon. Now what we've got to do is we have to await contact with the progenitor race. Now that says 30 turns remaining. So again, this is one of those things where I can't really do anything now. I've got to wait for 30 turns. So at turn 349, we should win this game. So what do I do for the next 30 turns? Well, I could try and work towards another victory type. Probably isn't worth it, because the only other victory type I possibly could do would be the Emancipation victory. And I would need to get my Supremacy up to level 13 in order to be able to build the Emancipation Gate anyway. Then I would have to build the Emancipation Gate, and then I would have to send a lot of units through it. And that would take me more than 30 turns anyway. I can't really go ahead and do a domination victory, because it would take me a lot more than 30 turns to take everyone's capital city. I could go ahead and try and harass some of the other AI players to try and make sure that nobody else gets a victory, although I am still the person closest to getting a victory type. So again, it even makes that seem a little bit pointless now. Let's just go ahead and get these node banks wherever we can, just because they're useful. You can have a cloning plant, actually, extra production from Xenomass, not that you need it. Let's go ahead and get the earned science equal to 15% of the culture we generate. That will help things out nicely there. We also get a free virtue, of course, so now what we could do is... Do we want a new covert agent? Probably not. I guess we could go down here. We're not bothered about the energy, so let's go 40% less science penalty for additional cities. But we'll work our way down here anyway, just because we can. And plus, now we get an extra 10% science in every city as well. Do we have another virtue? How many virtues did we just fire there? Or did... minus 40% culture penalty for cities with new virtues. So we'll click yes. So there we go. Oh, of course, we're Franco-Iberia. So what we actually got there is we got our virtue from our culture points. Then we actually got a free virtue from our culture points because we are playing as Franco-Iberia, and every so many virtues they get a free virtue. Plus we also got the did we get a synergy bonus as well? We definitely did something that gave us a free virtue. Oh yeah, we got the tier 2 synergy bonus. So we actually got 3 virtues in a single turn. That was actually quite nice. So we've gone ahead and we have... See, we've got these 2 camps right next to each other now. We have gone ahead and finished working on that tile there. So again, not an awful lot for these workers to do. I'm getting to the point where I think I should probably consider disbanding them now. That geothermal is never going to be close enough for me to do anything. I think, yeah, I will actually go ahead and start disbanding some of these workers. You can stay there. Now, I have done this victory type once before. I did say that I had done this in a multiplayer game with a friend. And we basically had the same thing. We got to the point where we'd built the beacon. Now, technically, you will have to defend it. If I was playing against a tougher AI, although I don't even know if the AI actually bothers trying to do this, but if we were playing against an AI, or if I was a tough AI, or I was playing against another player, what they could try and do is they could actually come and try and destroy the beacon, because that would put a halt on the victory progress. And this is something that you could never do in Civilization 5. If you imagine something like the science victory, the only way to stop somebody winning a science victory, really, was to completely cripple them. You either had to destroy or take enough of their cities so they didn't have enough science output to be able to reach the endgame text quickly, or you had to be able to do enough damage to them and cripple them so they didn't have enough production to build the spaceship parts. The problem is, as soon as someone builds a spaceship part and adds it to their spaceship, you can destroy the spaceship parts when they're on the road, for example, but the moment a spaceship part gets added to the spaceship, that's it, it's added. Even if you destroy the city that the spaceship is being built in, it just relocates to the next city. So there's no way to halt the progress or sort of slow them, or to revert the progress. Whereas, at least in Beyond Earth, they have thought about that. And because all of the victory types except domination require you to build some sort of specialist building, like the beacon or the Emancipation Gate, or the Mind Flower in the case of Harmony, and the Exodus Gate in the case of Purity. All of those buildings, all of those wonders can actually be attacked and destroyed, which means that that player then has to rebuild. And as you can see, it's quite time consuming. So at least there is a way to try and stop them. And that's why I've built it in a sort of a protected area, really. So production-wise, Fidel, not an awful lot that you can do. I mean, we could get some extra energy from Xenomass. There's no reason why not. Let's go ahead and do that. You might as well go ahead and get that node bank as well. So we can either gain 450 science immediately, or plus 5 Xenomass resources. Don't need the Xenomass, so let's just go ahead and get some free science. Trade convoy. You just carry on going to Banamusa. So as I was saying, I was playing this victory type with a friend in multiplayer, and we got to the point where we were just waiting for the 30 turns to end. And we were basically we got to a point where we sold our workers because all we were doing was trying to find unimproved tiles for them to upgrade, which weren't really making any difference to the game. Because what you've got to remember, of course, is that once your cities grow to a certain size, you can only work a certain number of tiles, and there's no point having 25 upgraded tiles if you've only got a population of 11. Covert operation has been detected in Liqueur. So we'll move you from Ainsa to Liqueur. We also have a little bit of intrigue and prosperity there as well, which we may have to go and sort out. Unit needs orders. I'm not sure what. Let's just get you building a farm. So, of course, what I could be doing at the moment, because I'm not being attacked and there isn't an awful lot to do, I could literally just be clicking next turn, next turn, next turn, next turn, and not have an awful lot to do. And that's another reason why it's probably worth, at some point, just getting rid of your additional workers, because it's just pointless micromanagement. Of course, it is still possible that I could be attacked by the AI, although it is increasingly unlikely, which would mean that I'd need to be able to build some units and maybe change my strategy to defend. I may also need my workers to repair pillage tiles and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and get a few of the buildings that will allow us to build land units more quickly, just in case we do get attacked, because remember, the big problem now is we're not actually making any additional energy, which means it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to buy new buildings. Floatstone for favours. No, sorry, it's caused a divide. Please don't attack me. But yeah, so we're not going to really be able to store up massive amounts of energy and panic buy units. If anything, we've got to break even. So I need to be able to build units, and I need to be able to build them quickly. What else are we going to have here? The repair facility. Let's get these repair facilities wherever we can. I think we could build another couple of units, actually. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's get a couple more cinders going. You have built the mine. It's not really needed. We'll go ahead and we'll build a farm. Trade convoy. Just carry on where you were going now. What I feel at the moment is that this is pretty much the sprint for the finish. So at this point in the game, I'm either going to win or I'm not. There's nothing else that I can really do to speed up my victory. I know that as long as nobody else wins, I will have won by turn 349. There isn't really an awful lot that I can do to stop anybody else winning, although I don't think anybody is as close to winning the game as I am at the moment. Now, of course, they could attack me, so I do have to be prepared to defend myself, but for the time being, it's literally just a case of sitting around waiting, which again is one of the things that I don't think is particularly good about Beyond Earth. And it's a sad thing to say, because the game should have more potential than it does. You're going to go ahead and build a farm there. I'm now starting to get a little bit fatigued at micromanaging these worker units, so we may well end up just disbanding them as soon as they've finished with their current tiles. I've basically upgraded any tile or improved any tile that has a resource on it. So the only tiles I've got to sort of upgrade are tiles that are either out of reach, like these fibres, or tiles that are just plain and empty, and I could just build farms and stuff like that. So not all that useful. We can upgrade our overseers to executioners, so why not? So we can give them +1 range if the unit hasn't moved. That's actually quite nice. Let's go ahead and give them that. We can also upgrade our sort of soldiers, our marines, to apostles. So we can either give them +10 hit point heal for every adjacent unit every turn, or +30% when flanking. Let's give them the healing. Well, it's only for adjacent units anyway, so we'll give them the flanking then, because we might be able to use those to attack a little bit more. And our needle jets get upgraded to heralds, so we can either give them +50% when air sweeping, or an extra 20% when attacking wounded units. Don't really use them for air sweeps, so we'll give them the extra attack. You have finished your operation there. You can go ahead and try and steal more tech. It may or may not work. Again, we were detected, but we weren't identified, so that is fine. It's time now, I think, to bring this guy over here and get the food connected up, or the fungus, and then we'll move on to that other source of Firaxite, although we have plenty right now. Trade convoy, prosperity. Now, I'm not too sure what's going to happen in the next few turns. I was considering maybe just running this one video all the way through until the end, but we are still at least sort of 20 turns away from completing it, and there might be a little bit of micromanagement. The next video might end up being a really short one, but I'd sooner not end up doing a 45-50 minute video for this one and then suddenly get attacked by the AI towards the end and end up with really long, slow turns while I'm defending myself. What else are we going to get over here? Probably not an awful lot. Let's just go on to social development in a few of these cities. Trade convoys will just carry on. It would be nice if there was an option with trade convoys to turn around and say, just carry on running the same trade routes continuously, like auto-renew, for example. So keep auto-renewing this trade route unless there's a significant change. Obviously, if you end up going to war with somebody, or if you're trading with a city that no longer exists or changes hands, that sort of thing would make sense. But I think for most point, once you've established a trade route, you tend to stick to the same one. Might as well go, well, both are useless actually. We're not really producing anything, and we don't gain the extra energy. Although gaining the extra energy, I think we are slightly gaining because it's rounded. Yeah, we are making 0. We were making like 0.2 before. Sometimes you do make a little bit, but you're not supposed to. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Let's go ahead and start getting rid of these workers just because they are doing nothing more than giving me extra stuff to do. Obviously, this guy can stick around because he is upgrading the tiles at this city. So he definitely needs to stick around. So we are 20 turns away from completion. Hopefully, unless somebody else beats us. So I may well go through to the end of the game yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. Of course, turn 330 in and we haven't really seen or heard much from the aliens. The aliens are pretty much now irrelevant at this point of the game. Which again is... Can you stay there? Yeah, brilliant. Again, is another thing that was so promising. That the aliens were going to be like the barbarians in Civilization 5, but they would be, you know, sort of relevant right the way through to the end of the game. And when was the last, apart from a couple of sea dragons, when was the last time we even seen an alien unit? Because we literally don't have any alien nests around anymore. Covert operation detected in Liqueur. I believe we're already in Liqueur. We are, so we may well catch that person there. That worker has finished, so you're going to suffer the same fate as your colleagues. You're going to be disbanded just so that I don't have to keep you around. So let's go on for a few more turns. Of course, it's a little bit time consuming because we have to wait for the AI to take its turns, which can take a little bit of time. So we've managed to steal some science and we were undetected, which is fantastic. Let's go back in. We're going to get the option to siphon energy now. They've obviously got a counter spy in there. They're cracking down on the on our ability to spy on them. Saying that, though, I'm not going to bother moving the spy now. Seems very little point in doing so. At this point in the game, doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of point in moving anything around. I might as well just keep everything as it is. Doesn't seem to be any benefit in micromanaging stuff. So we're literally just coming up to the 20-minute mark, which is the point where I would normally end the video. Now, we should win on turn 349, which means there's only 17 turns to go. Now, I don't imagine that there's going to be an awful lot to do between turns, so this may just be an extra long video. So we can immediately gain 1,000 energy, or we can gain extra production and extra energy from Xenomass. As the extra energy isn't going to count towards anything, and as production isn't really an issue because we've built most of the things we need to build, I'm just going to accept the energy. So as you can see, even though we're not in a position where we can make energy per turn, we can still get energy by taking it from quests or by selling stuff directly. So at least we've got a little bit of energy in the bank now. If it should happen that I do get attacked and I need to go ahead and emergency buy a unit, at least I've got a bit of energy in the bank that will allow me to do that. And of course, unlike Civilization 5, we don't need to pay to actually upgrade units now. Let's go ahead and get the extra culture for every wonder. Oh, we can't get that one yet. We'll have to go into learning centres first. We only have one academy, so it's a little bit of a disappointment, but we'll grab that anyway. Another quest decision. Not too bothered about either of these. I'm just going to grab one of them. It makes no difference to me. And on to the next turn. Little bit of a shame this city never actually got going, really. This would have been a really nice city if I'd have managed to found it earlier. It's doesn't have an awful lot in the way of... Well, it's not too bad in terms of food, actually. I mean, it does have algae. 1, 2, 3. It would actually spread to this algae as well, which would be really nice. Turns for minor factions. I think minor factions is literally just the stations, really. And what have we got here? Another trade convoy. Yeah, go back to where you were going before. And next turn. Yep, you're all happy. Not too bothered about what's going on with the PSC. Did that city actually get destroyed? Yeah, I think it was... Oh, camera's doing its usual civilization thing that they still haven't managed... Oh, I haven't heard from you for a while. Yeah, get over it. The camera's still doing this old buggy thing that it used to do in Civilization 5 that they still haven't fixed, where it just scrolls off on its own. But yeah, I'm sure that city was actually around here, so they did raise it completely. So I'm just going to keep clicking on next turn. Deorbit imminent. We've got another trade convoy, of course. You go back where you were. Also love it when it turns around and says that the deorbit is imminent, and it normally means it's 15 turns away, which is really weird when you consider most satellites only go up for sort of 30 or 45 turns anyway. So it's not like it gives you a warning right near the end of its life. I'm just going to refuse all diplomacy, mainly to prove a point, because if you've been watching this particular run through from the start, you'll have noticed that I haven't really done any diplomacy at all with the AI, with the exception of accepting declarations of friendship from time to time, because there's no point in not doing that, and also in terms of getting open borders on a couple of occasions where I've needed to get access to a specific tile. But I haven't bought or sold any resources, mainly because you don't really need to do that. There is no luxury resource management in this game. I haven't really paid anyone to declare war on anybody else. At least I don't think I have. Slavic Federation is definitely going to get wiped out now, without a doubt. So basically, yeah, I've done no diplomacy whatsoever. You can go on to do an observatory, so extra science from the Farak site. Now, you'd never be able to get away with doing that in Civilization 5, particularly on higher difficulty levels with the AI. But you certainly need to be able to exchange resources. And also, again, at higher difficulty levels, you really need to be able to get those research agreements. And research agreements just aren't... Well, they're not even really a thing in Beyond Earth, but you wouldn't need them anyway, because in Beyond Earth, you just steal science from people. It just makes it so much easier. So we're just going to carry on. I haven't noticed anywhere that tells you how many turns the beacon actually has remaining. So I think you kind of have to just keep the figure in your mind and remember what sort of turn it's going to be on. So KTP and the ARC are now cooperating, and these people are sort of together on one island. They do seem to be getting invaded a little bit by some of the others. We've got the PAC here, the African unions here, and yeah, they have actually in a single turn. I mean, it was a small city, but one turn ago, that city still belonged to the Slavic Federation. They've now been wiped out from the game, and this is why I don't like the combat much in... I mean, I didn't like the combat all that much in Civilization 5. But I definitely don't like it in Beyond Earth. No interest in this arrangement. I certainly don't like it in Beyond Earth because cities are just too squishy. You can literally declare war on somebody, and on the same turn you declare war, you can take a city. It's that easy to do, and that is a real shame. So there's not an awful lot to do now, apart from wait the next 7 turns until it's all over. Everyone wants to go to war with everyone else, which is fine as long as they don't want to go to war with me. Now the Slavic Federation is out, because they were the weakest people, we may find that the AI starts picking on the next weakest. I didn't see what the last offer of war was. The one before was definitely the African Union, so the AI does feel that the African Union is a little bit squishy, and they want to go to war with them, so... we'll just carry on, because we are only a few turns away from winning. We just have a look at the victories. Yeah, domination. Everyone's currently joint first in domination, because everybody has one capital city of their own.
If you replicate the neurological activity of an...
which shouldn't technically be true, because somebody should have captured... the PAC... actually own Crabrost. So the PAC should technically be further ahead than everybody else, because they own 2 capitals. Unless, of course, they've lost their own capital. No, they still have Tiangong. I think that's their original capital. That's weird. Maybe that's a little bit of a bug then. We're very, very close now. Our victory is still 80. Again, it's still... oh, 5 turns remaining. It does actually say there. So in 5 more turns, we should have one. I don't even care which upgrade I take here, because there's absolutely no point. We can choose another research. We know we've only got 5 turns left, so let's choose something that's going to take 9 turns, just so that it doesn't bother us again. You can come down here and build a farm, just because I've got nothing better for you to do. So 5 turns should put us on 349. At least my maths was okay on this video. Certainly better than it has been on some of my other games when I'm trying to work things out. So, tech stolen. So our agent stole the alien ethics technology, but was killed. That's a shame. Probably means somebody will get a little bit upset because we were stealing tech from them, and we don't really mind, so we're just going to say yes, whatever, no problem, sorry to have offended you, because we don't really care. On to the next turn. So, just a few turns away from winning. Yeah, terribly sorry, won't happen again, because the game's 4 turns away from ending, and I wouldn't be able to try and steal something from you if I wanted to. There we go. The PAC has declared war on the African Union as expected. It may be even for space to settle over here near the KTP. Can't quite decide on that. Trade vessel. Just carry on going where you were before. Next turn, and I am literally just rushing through next turn now, because there's nothing else to do, really. So we can see that already, 1 turn after war has been declared, the African Union have lost a city to the... oh no, it was the PAC that declared on the last turn. But still, they lost a city quite quickly, and I think... yeah, the PAC's actually lost a city to the KTP here as well. So cities do fall quite quickly. So let's go ahead and just develop that other virtue there. We've got a trade vessel. Just go wherever. There's probably another trade vessel as well, because there were 2 options there. Yeah, there we go. Off you go. So this should be 2 turns away from the win. So yeah, I'm glad I carried on just to try and get it finished in this video. Otherwise, the next video would have just been 10 minutes long, and sooner have a 30-minute video than a 10-minute video, because, you know, I feel like I don't want to make videos too long, but at the same time, I feel if they're too short, people feel a little bit cheated, because, you know, you come on, you maybe watch an ad at the beginning of a video, and if it's a short video, that seems a little bit crappy. So I'd sooner give my viewers the ability to watch a longer video and only have to watch 1 ad. Trade, yeah, wherever you were going before. Another trade vessel. This is a problem. As soon as you start getting a few cities, and cities only have 2 trade vessels each now. At some point, they used to have 3 before the patch. Well, they've made peace already. But it shouldn't make any difference, because 1 more turn, or it might even be the end of this turn when it's resolved. I'm not sure at what point it counts. Still only third in the scores, which is the middle of 5, because obviously the 6th one has been wiped out. But there we go. And that is basically what you get. You achieved a contact victory as the beacon broadcast its signal to the far side of the cosmos. We knew our search was at an end. The eternal question, are we alone, had finally been answered. There was no way to anticipate who or what we would discover, but we knew that we were ready. All human history had led us up to this point, the day mankind emerged from the shadows of isolation and made contact. And that basically just tells us the same thing. And that is basically it. That is the contact victory. Just as disappointing as some of the other victory types, really. A little bit of a shame. Again, I may come back to Beyond Earth again at some point in the future. Definitely on a harder difficulty level, but once again, I'll probably wait until they do another patch and a bit more of a balance change. Maybe when they sort out how squishy cities are, it'll make it worth doing a domination victory. Or maybe they will even be an expansion by then. Or who knows, maybe they'll have given up on the IP completely and they'll be just concentrating on Sid Meier's spaceships. But until next time, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this series. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.